So, because we were dealing with the Pharisaical order,
Yeah.
which is the Old Testament.
Yeah.
That standard
Yeah.
of the Passover, the High Holy Days, those traditions. But then in my studying, the Spirit led me into the studying of the gospel.
Okay.
So Christ enters the picture now in my life, right? On a much higher level.
Okay.
I was learning about Christ in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, right?
Okay.
But now the Spirit has entered into on a higher level now.
Okay.
Of consciousness.
Okay.
About Christ.
Okay.
And the Spirit was showing me that Christ is the King of Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. Not no other Israelite. In the Transfiguration, when God came into the Transfiguration with Elijah and Moses, the Father said, "Hear ye him," Christ.
Yeah.
Moses represented the Old Testament.
Okay.
Elijah represented the Old Prophet. The two top brothers.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And they're going to have their place in the kingdom.
Okay.
But now the King is here.
Okay.
So the question that came to me is, how can Christ be the King of Israel?
Okay.
And the Israelites not flow unto the King who has the power, who is their resurrection, who died for their sins. How can they exalt another man as king in Israel?
So at this time, because since you was part of the 7 heads that would eventually establish,
I think the first person I met was I.O.C.K.
Okay.
And then
who was the father of Arya?
yes.
Okay.
And then Arya.
And Arya. Okay.
And then I met Masha.
Masha. Okay.
I think because the periods of classes.
Yeah.
I think Masha used to come in on the Sabbath classes.
Okay.
And then I met him that following, a few days later.
Okay.
So Masha and them came to me one day and said, him and Arya, they said, "Listen, Lahab, we're gonna put you in this position." I said, "No, because these other brothers have been here before me." And they looked at me. They said, "No, we're going to put you in this position, okay?"
We're teaching that the Negroes, Western Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Mexicans, Indians in America are the Israelites, are the real Jews. Now I'm going to ask you, what are you Negroes in America teaching? We're teaching that the Negroes in this country are the real Jews. What are you Negroes in America teaching? What are you teaching? What are all you different rap groups teaching? What are all your ministers and your preachers teaching? Because in the Bible, it tells you that the Negroes are the real Jews.
So what was your title? What was your first responsibility as someone that had a position in
the first responsibility was to try to continue the ministry, right? And try to bring the brothers into a more orderly state, a state of understanding,
Okay.
Which is really spiritual discipline,
Yeah.
understanding,
Yeah.
That you got to put down this fighting and this bickering
Okay.
that's going on here,
Yeah.
because the leadership was trying to get a movement going,
Okay.
and they had all these other young cats, with the squabbles.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So at that time, how big was the group? Was it more than 30, less than 30, more than 100? Was how big was this group back then?
Yeah, see, it was just beginning.
It was just beginning.
It was a pioneering stage. It was just beginning.
Did you hear a story about Abba Bibbins and his struggles?
Yeah, Marshall and them, they told me about him,
Okay,
that they came from him.
Okay.
They came from under Bibbins, right?
Okay.
But I never met Bibbins.
Okay.
I never seen him.
Okay.
So I never got to meet him.
Okay.
And deal with him.
Okay.
But they did tell me about, they came out of his group.
Came out of his group. Okay.
Yeah.
In your mid-20s now, they said, "Listen, we want you to be in this position to bring order into the body." So what you begin to do in that that position?
Well, in other words, it was basically about handling, going out and speaking,
Okay.
and going out and teaching, and so I was in a position during that time that I could go out. I could go out during the week with them.
Okay.
And I could go out during the week with Arya.
Okay.
So I was in that type of position, right?
Okay.
And so all the other brothers then ended up under me because of the order that they set up, right?
Okay.
So I want to know, where did you black Afro-American teachers and where did you other black people that's teaching knowledge in America, where in the hell did you get your knowledge from, man? Because this Bible is the records of all mankind. The scripture says they speak not according to this book and according to the testimonies and according to the law, there's no truth in them. In other words, what are we saying? You so-called Negroes in New York, your history is found in the Bible.
And so I had to constantly minister the reality of understanding the righteousness of God, the discipline, and understand that, you know, you can't be smoking dope.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't be arguing and fighting with yourself like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I experienced when I first got there.
Okay.
There was a lot of arguing and fighting among the brothers. I couldn't understand that. You got all this information, man. Do you understand what you got here? But in the reality, they were young men.
Yeah.
These were young guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, in their 20s.
Okay. So
you know,
it was a fairly new church, few years, and with young people.
Yeah, young guys.
Okay, but you was pretty young yourself. So I mean, how that affected your personal life? Were you married? Did your wife want to kill you, or she was with you? That affected your personal life, dealing with a difficult first, church getting started from the ground up. How that affected your personal life?
Yeah. Well, I was married.
Okay.
And so my wife was with me, right?
Okay.
And then as we moved on, right? As I moved on, I began to like distance myself.
Okay.
Because I see that because now I had come to full circle now.
Okay.
With what I had been searching for from a teenager.
Okay.
The knowledge of who we really were.
Okay.
And the glory of these people, of the 12 tribes of Israel, that these people, this is not just anybody.
Okay.
These are the actual sons and daughters of God.
Yeah.
So that was totally exciting.
Okay, of course.
And then to study the scriptures and to understand how the Father felt about Israel compared to the other nations.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another very highlight, that the Father meant business with this nation. He wanted this nation to be his glory and to manifest his wisdom and knowledge. But there's a great battle that's been fought against Israel. And this is something that a lot of Israelites have never understood. That's why I want to go into the part about me and the leadership.
Okay. So let's go there. So you're in the leadership now. At this time, with Ishaya and Kazak, would they begin to, because I know Ishaya came in around 75, I believe.
Okay.
And did he came in? Did you? What time did Ishaya begin to come in? And also been also put ordained as an elder there as well.
So that's the way they had it set up, right?
Okay.
So now, but after I went on in the gospel, right? After I learned the history in a few years, because I was there, I think about close to 18, 20 years, right?
Okay.
So, but I was growing in the knowledge.
Okay.
Because as you see now, dealing with the scriptures, you can see now it's a growing process.
Yeah.
You begin to grow.
Okay.
And your consciousness begins to come to a higher level in the scriptures.
Okay.
And understanding what God is saying.
Okay.
So, because we were dealing with the Pharisaical order, which is the Old Testament.
Yeah.
That standard of the Passover, the High Holy Days, those traditions. But then in my studying, the Spirit led me into the studying of the gospel.
Okay.
So Christ enters the picture now in my life, right? On a much higher level.
Okay.
I was learning about Christ in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, right?
Okay.
But now the Spirit has entered into on a higher level now.
Okay.
Of consciousness.
Okay.
About Christ.
Okay.
And the Spirit was showing me that Christ is the King of Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. Not no other Israelite. In the Transfiguration, when God came into the Transfiguration with Elijah and Moses, the Father said, "Hear ye him." Christ.
Yeah.
Moses represented the Old Testament.
Okay.
Elijah represented the Old Prophet. The two top brothers.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're going to have their place in the kingdom.
Okay.
But now the King is here.
Okay.
So the question that came to me is, how can Christ be the King of Israel?
Okay.
And the Israelites not flow unto the King who has the power, who is their resurrection, who died for their sins. How can they exalt another man as king in Israel?
And you're referring to Marshall?
Yeah, because see what happened, the situation, the fallout with me and them is that because now I'm well into the knowledge of the gospel now, of Christ now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I understand what the New Testament is talking about now.
Okay.
Okay.
So when did the doctrine? And many people don't know. You can maybe touch on this. It's not really irrelevant that you were the pioneer of setting up the oil tables. And they called you was the one that was early there setting that up. Could you just touch briefly on that?
Yeah, well, they were struggling. See, there was a lot of struggle going on at that time, right? and brothers were coming into the organization, right?
Yeah.
You know, these brothers out in the street, out
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how broken this nation
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? And so they were coming in borrowing money from I.O.C.K, borrowing money from me, borrowing money from Ariah and him and Marsha and him, right? And it was a struggle, right? And you know, and they trying to help the brothers. We trying to help the brothers. So one day Marsha came to me and he said, you know, we need to do something here because look at this situation. You know what I'm saying?
Young man struggling.
Yeah. And so I looked at it, right? And so now the Spirit just said to me, let's gather the officers together.
Okay.
All the top officers is running these camps.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything I did, I got approval from them. So he said, okay, gather them together. I said, let's deal with this situation because we're going to end up broken out the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we get started.
Before we get started, man,
Yeah.
if we don't deal with this issue right here. Okay. So that was one of the situations. So I got together with the brothers that were the top officers, and we sat down and we got together and formed Central Command. So Central Command now was responsible for dealing with the financial operations,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yes.
And that, therefore, we gathered the brothers. Some brothers were dealing with oil tables.
Okay.
So we gathered all the oil tables together under
Okay.
Central Command.
Okay.
And then a percentage of that would go to the leadership.
To the leadership, right, to the church.
You're right,
And
to the
the
church.
And the other percent will go to the men.
Okay, now that alleviated them borrowing money from the church.
Yeah, creating jobs
Right.
for them. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that alleviated a lot of stress on
Yeah.
I.O.C.K and Marsha and them. For these brothers coming, a lot of people don't know this, right?
Yeah.
You know what was really happening in internal circles of Israel.
Okay.
Okay. So it started moving.
Yeah.
Then it started moving and then growing. Then other brothers started coming in and they saw what was happening. Then
And this will be a way for the brother to make a living.
Right.
And learn how to support themselves.
right.
Okay.
So now I'm in a situation now where, you know, I'm really coming into more consciousness now, right? I'm really serving men here that, you know, trying to, you know, raise money and all that. So there was also a cry for a bigger school.
Yeah.
So one of the brothers pointed out to us there was a building up on the corner, right, that we could move into.
Okay.
So with the money that we was making from the oil tables, right, I started financing and building that school up there.
The next school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you ever saw it.
Because we moved we moved when I was there from Onewest 125th Street to 1941 Madison.
Yeah, right.
But I know between that there was another school.
Yeah, it was up on the corner, right.
In the corner, yeah. That one I never went to.
So we invested money in that, replenished the place,
Okay.
and everything, and made it nice,
Yeah.
and beautiful.
I remember the news when you left. I remember briefly about Lahab and things of that nature. But at that time, the doctrine of that Apttmh was John the Baptist was already established. Marshak was King Mo, King David, and I think also he was Peter.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
so as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
Peter-
they were pushing that, right?
Yeah, because Peter was, since he was the head of the church, and he's from the tribe of Judah, they
Yeah.
were kind of bringing that up, that he will be king in the future as well.
Yeah. This concept about Marsha being King David, right, was being brought forth by Ariah, right?
Yeah,
Very seriously, right? On a serious level, a few years before I left.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a serious level.
On a serious
And,
level, but it was still it was underground or among the elders.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was being voiced also. I think to some of the camp leaders.
The camp leaders, but
Yeah.
not because I remember being in the Manhattan Center in 2000, I'm sorry, not 2000, 95 or 96. And I remember that Passover because that's when one of the Boys to Men, or two of the Boys to Men group stars, the Boys to Men group, became Israelites. And I always remember that because of that.
Yeah.
And I remember it was Elder Ariar making an announcement, thanking everybody for coming and things of that nature, and announcing Marshal as King David.
When they brought that to me, right, for me to swear that he was king.
Oh, so they actually to swear?
Yeah, to make an oath under him. Okay, so by that time I was well established in the gospel.
Yeah.
Not to make, Christ says, swear not to make any oaths. Swear not by heaven or by earth.
Okay.
Okay, so now, and I was well established in the gospel.
Okay.
So I knew who the king of Israel was.
Yeah.
So now, I tested a moment. I said, listen, Christ is king. You're not king, man. And I'm not bowing down to you. Christ is the king of Israel. Where I was sitting at in Israel, right, this is something that him and R.R. was working with.
Okay.
Okay. And to make the brother swear unto that and agree to that, then he must agree to it. He had to agree to it if they're going to make everybody agree to it.
Okay, so Ariel was pushing this the most, but he agreed with it because
yeah. So he was a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted that glory, but that glory belongs to Christ, man. Because in the New Testament, the Father has showed Israel who their King is. We have a mighty and powerful King that can resurrect the dead, heal the sick, cast out demons, establish you in the kingdom of heaven. Because in the final analysis in the gospel, what Christ was telling Israel was that your vile body shall be changed into my glorious body. I'm looking for that king.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for no earthly king, man. What are you talking about? We Israelites, the Bible is telling you who the king of Israel is. So you want me to swear that this man is king? No, I won't do that.
Yeah.
So what I did, right, I went back and taught the gospel in my, I used to have the Monday class.
Yeah.
So I went back and taught the gospel, right? And they videoed it. Okay. And then they called me the next day and told me not to come back. Okay. So that's what happened. They saw me teaching about Christ, as Christ was king, and preaching the gospel, right, to the brothers, right? And this offended them. And then, so what I heard, right, then I heard, because I knew what I was going up against, right? And I knew I was leaving. Okay. They saw me teaching about Christ, as Christ was king, and preaching the gospel, right, to the brothers, right? And this offended them.